Welcome back to Bits and Boards. I'm Anthony Krolikowski, and today we have the esports team that kind of sparked my whole interest in starting something like this in the first place. When I stopped by the UAlbany eSports arena when they had their opening, I was the only TV reporter there, and we did morning live shots. We had a good time with it. We did some interviews. Maybe got some names wrong, but it was a pretty decent time. And with me today, we have the director of esports and some of the team members, Mr. John and Henry and Lucia. So, John, why don't you just tell me about what got the whole esports program started?
Oh, sure. So, our esports program has a little bit of history. So, originally, a long time ago, say 8 or 9 years ago, it was actually a League of Legends Club specific video game on campus. And over time, one of our faculty members, Michael Lazinski, took notice of these students and what they were doing, and decided to lend his support to them and make UAlbany eSports an official university program. So it was originally a faculty effort, and then it started to really grow into this presence on campus. It moved under student affairs, and then we constructed our still pretty brand new esports arena on our uptown campus. It became, once I was brought on, it became more of a combination of our competitive teams and our general student body. So it's like a regular use facility. We do a lot of 4-credit internships out of the arena and a lot of working opportunities as well. So it really grew into a general presence on campus that we like to think connects into a lot of different programs.
Yeah. And then, Henry and Lucia, what has your time been at the esports arena been? How long have you been part of it? And what's your roles? And just give me a little bit about that background.
Okay, well, I was a freshman last year at UAlbany, so I only learned about it in the beginning of the year, like before the classes even started. I remember John had a little showcase about eSports, the program, and there was a couple of people there other than me, and I remember really taking an interest to the Super Smash Brothers portion of the showcase, because I used to play a lot of Smash Bros with my older brothers. So I ended up emailing him personally, asking to kind of try out for the team. Mm-hmm. And I think last year was the first year that it was open too, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of got the first glimpse at the arena, and it was really cool. And me and 10 other people tried out for the Smash team, and I ended up making it onto the Super Smash Brothers Gold team. So I've been competing ever since last year, and it's been an awesome experience. It's been really fun.
I've loved Super Smash Bros. Over the years. I've played all of them since I played on the Wii and the GameCube and the N64 one. What was your main, Ben, and how has that kind of maybe changed since you've been playing?
I started playing around when Super Smash Bros. Brawl came out, and in that game, I remember playing as Marth, the Fire Emblem character.
I love Fire Emblem. It's a very fun game.
I actually learned about Fire Emblem from Smash Bros. I would have never learned about that game otherwise.
That was pretty much everybody, so the 3DS came out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then in the Wii U and 3DS version of the game, that didn't really change much. I think I started playing more Link when that game came out, but otherwise, my main really stayed Marth and a little bit of Link. And then when Smash Brothers Ultimate came out, I still played Marth and Link, but there was a character that came out that happened to be the last character in the game, called Sora. He's from Kingdom Hearts, and I was incredibly happy that he was able to join the game, because Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game of all time. I love the Kingdom Hearts series so much. And so I told myself before the DLC even came out, I was like, if Sora ever gets into Smash Bros, that's it. I'm maining him. So yeah, he's been my main ever since he came out.
I know when that was kind of brought up to people's mind, when people would be like, "Oh, like what character do you want?" Like that was kind of the hot topic. It's like, how are you going to get Disney and Square Enix to agree to something like this?
Oh
And,
my
and it
God,
happened somehow, some way. But Henry, we don't want to forget about you. I know I've interviewed you a couple of times for all these crazy reports we've done. So just kind of give us what got you into this realm and how it's been.
Yeah, so this is my 4th year with the program, but I started way back freshman year, kind of before too. So my visits to campus, before I even decided I want to go to UAlbany, I kind of had my eye on esports. Video games have been like a part of my life for a while. I kind of grew up in the country, so it's very different from what you'd expect, but I found that playing video games was a great way to like connect with my friends easily without having to go like a 20-minute drive to their house. I was like, we can just play games online, and that was great, but kind of explored the option at UAlbany. It wasn't a deciding factor in my college, but it was definitely a pretty good factor that was considered for it, and I got introduced to the program. I learned about like a freshman scholarship that was available, and so that kind of helped as well. But I was mainly interested in League of Legends at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was my
Yep.
that was my game over COVID as well, what I really played a lot of with my friends. And so I was like, I'll try out for this, see how well I do, and I in fact made it. I was kind of surprised, but yeah, I made it onto the team, and that was kind of my game for 2 years. I started as just a player on one of our teams, moved up to like team captain the next year, just as someone who helps run the team, check-ins, practices, stuff like that. And then the last year and a month, I've been the program coordinator, graduate assistant type role for the program. I kind of help the competitive teams make sure they're all set up, everything's good with them. More of a logistics role, so not as much playing involved anymore, but still fun to see them all playing too.
Now, living in the country, from my experience growing up in Montgomery County and Glen here locally, I know internet was tough as a kid. I was always just playing Pokemon on my DS, which is great. You don't have to worry too much about it. But any online game is just, it was a little rocky. So how did you make that work? Because I know you mentioned League. I don't know if that was your time, and tell me about that.
So I started out with a DS as well. That was like 7 or 8. I can't even remember at this point. It was a long time ago, but that was like my first video game device, I'd say. That got a lot of use. I eventually got a 3DS years later when it came out. Eventually somewhere, I had an iPad. I was an iPad kid for a couple of years, I'll admit that. Plants vs. Zombies was my game there. But eventually I did get a laptop. Internet was always a problem. Started out with, back then it was unlimited Wi-Fi was very rare back then, especially in the country. But eventually I upgraded my laptop to a more gaming laptop style, and can't remember when we eventually actually got fiber optic at my house, which is kind of crazy to think about because some places even in cities still don't have it. And I was like, how did our random little house in the country get fiber optic Wi-Fi?
It's a win, right?
I was like, I'll take it. But that kind of helped with the Wi-Fi situation, and my new laptop really helped. Like, it was able to run League very well. So that was just kind of how I did it there. Sometimes with Ethernet too, if I really wanted a good connection. But yeah, and then coming to college, obviously, Wi-Fi is really good here. But yeah.
Well, the joke is League can run on a toaster, right? So
Yeah.
it can run on
It
that.
can run
The
pretty
gaming
easily.
laptop should be okay.
Yeah.
And, John, when it comes to the current esports season, just kind of explain to me where we're at and how that is for this year.
Sure. So this year is actually an interesting year for us. So historically, our competitive teams have mainly been involved in a circuit called ECAC, Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference, their esports branch. This year, we're in a lot of different stuff nationally. So we're in ECAC, we're in SUNY League, which is all the SUNY institutions. We're in NECC, which is the largest national body for esports. We're in CFGC, which is fighting games. We're in CSS for Rocket League. So there's a lot that we're managing this semester with our teams and what their aspirations and goals are. Some of them are different from one another. Henry can definitely attest to that, as that is the majority of his work. But where we're at right now is that the teams are stable, season started. NECC matches have actually started this week, so we've started competing, and we've also started live streaming. So things are getting really consistent for us.
What are some of those games that are being played this year? And then from those first matches that you've had, how have they gone?
Pretty good so far.
Very good.
I'd
be
say
happy.
so, Henry, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Smash Ultimate had a killer match last night, the first match of the series. Marvel Rivals has started playing. Who else? I mean, most of the placement matches happened
All
last
the
week.
placement matches are done. They performed very well in those matches, placed well. There's about 9 divisions, and some of them, I think one of our rivals teams even got Division 2 out of like 8 divisions, which I was happy with, and I think they were happy with too. But yeah, they've started placements. Placements are done. They've started their matches, so they're just going on this week, and then ECAC and SUNY teams start next week as well. And CFGC started already, and
Yep.
they've been doing very well. Some of our players have gone like 5-0 so far in their matches.
Yeah,
They're
in
doing very
particular,
well.
that for us, that's Street Fighter and Guilty Gear Strive. So that's been pretty interesting for us too. We've actually had a lot of fighting game interest growth on campus, and we're trying to help support that too.
When it comes to the season and what's ahead and playing games, can you kind of just give us that background on how it works? Now, if it's the bracket style or whatever, just in case people who haven't watched other episodes, other Russell Sage worked and stuff like that, just how the advancement goes and playing against other schools.
Absolutely. So generally speaking, the way it works is that we have a seasonal breakdown of, say, September to November. And actually what's nice about NECC in particular, not to pick favorites, but they actually have all of our matches decided in advance, much like athletics. And all we have to do is make sure that all those matches are done by the end of the season. It's really nice on like a weekly schedule basis. So we'll play 1 or 2 matches a week in that particular circuit. And most circuits work the same. In particular, some of them are a little different, but we're really focusing on the ones that have this consistent team-oriented gameplay week by week to make sure that all of our student scheduling is good. That's also part of the arena, is that one of our pain points right now is, so many people are so interested. It's a terrible problem to have, right? But we have to balance our competitive team reservations. We have them reserve the arena for practice and matches with the general student interest, events, things like that. So, in regards to how circuits work, I mean, in particular, we have placement matches, which was last week, and that's because we're new to NECC, right? So we have to do placement matches to determine which division we're in. And then we have to play our standard matches and then hopefully qualify for playoffs at the end, towards like mid-November. And then playoffs would occur in December. Sometimes that leads to a LAN, a local event, which is what we're really hoping for. Our students love those, and we love to get them out to whatever we can. So that's also a big component for us. Did I miss anything, Henry?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I think you covered all. You covered it all. Matches, practices, just comes down to balance for the teams, making sure they can perform their best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about time to go to our break here, but real quick, John, just tell us one game that's kind of stood out to you this year, or maybe it's new, or just one that you're kind of excited to see your players.
In particular, I'd say Smash Ultimate. Obviously, Lucia, you're here, but they have a lot of goals this year. The team has had adjustments year over year from like 2 years ago to this year, and they've always tried really hard to balance getting involved with community engagement and competitive success, which is a little difficult. So I think they've handled that really well, and I'm excited to see how they do this year.
All right, and with that, we will be right back. And here we are. Now, when it comes to you two, Henry and Lucia, just tell me how you've seen using the space and playing with other people as, a chance to evolve your skills or find out maybe. I know when I was a kid playing games, I always, in my local group, was was one of the better players, right? When I had kids over for my friends over for like local little tournaments. But then when I went to a place where you met with other people who actually played consistently, that was very far from the case. I was not that great. But just tell me about how you've had a chance to maybe hone those skills and just test yourself.
Well, that was definitely the case for me. I was always like the one who was able to beat like the other people who ever played Smash Bros. In my school. And then when I came here, I was like, wow, there are people that are so much better at Smash Bros. Than I am. And it's like, it's a very humbling experience.
Exactly. Oh,
but
yes.
It's also very eye-opening because it's like, wow, I can actually like find a place where I can actually get better at the game. And I feel like maybe John, you've noticed, but I feel like over the past year, I've been involved in the Smash team. I think I've gotten a lot better at
definitely
honing my skills when it comes to Smash Bros.
And when it comes to a game like Smash Bros, because I know in our circles it's a pretty well-known game, maybe people who don't really know what it is, just give us some background on what goes into it, and it's maybe more than just a fighting game with the skills that you can use.
Oh yeah, it's part of Smash Bros. Is kind of a mind games. You really have to wait and see what your opponent does, and in order to like be able to react to that. Sometimes you can't even react because there are characters in the game who just have options that come out too fast that you can't react to.
I know for me, when I like to play, I usually like the faster characters who have projectiles, so I would always spam and like juggle the heavies in the air, and heavies meaning that they don't get sent as far across the stage, so it's a good way to play against them, and that was the style I liked, and against certain characters, like other faster characters, it doesn't always work, and
Yeah.
Jigglypuff gets launched off, it's a bad day for her. But Henry, what if you really click to in the circle when it comes to playing games and competing?
Yeah. So in my friend group, I think I've always been humble because I was not the best in my friend group. I will admit that.
I wish I was humble. I could learn a
was
thing from you, Henry.
Nowhere near the best. I was usually the support player in our friend group. That stayed through.
Support is fun, though.
It's fun.
There's
I had a
rewards
blast,
to that.
but my friends back home, they played like hours upon hours more than me. I don't know how they stayed up till like 3 a.m. I'd be asleep at 11 p.m. So I was always the odd one out. But coming to UAlbany definitely helped me learn more like communications in that sense, kind of shot calling. It's really a big team game, obviously, League of Legends. You have to know what to do in the moment, but also how your teammates are going to act, how the opponent's going to act too. I mean, that's obviously similar across all games, even just in regular sports. You have to know what is your opponent going to do and how can you react to that. But League of Legends, I definitely helped grow in that sense. And the closest other competitive game I've played, but not for the team, is like Marvel Rivals, support again. But it still always comes down to that, knowing what do you do in the moment? How are you going to react to this? And sometimes just can you, or are you going to be dead on the respawn screen really quickly? But yeah, it's definitely helped me grow in that, just team leadership, knowing what to do, reaction times, things like that for sure.
And John, now I know from having parents the way they look at video games, but I'm sure you've heard from your players' parents or whoever, and them saying like, well, how do you take your skills or whatever and translate that into teaching this and making it something that is, a club, something competitive, and what do you say to that, and how do you make that happen?
So for us, and this is true of a lot of programs at UAlbany, but this is also true about how we interpret esports and our esports program, but it's a connector for us. It's a way for our students we have student staff opportunities, we do 4-credit internship opportunities that are catered to their major or their path that they'd like to experiment with, and things like social media, broadcasting, team leadership, and management. It's a way for us to take this passion for gaming that totally exists, it's a whole medium, right? Casually and competitively, and have them get some experience they might not otherwise get at UAlbany or anywhere else. Get out to events, do things like that, really beef up their, not just resume-wise, which can be true, right? I mean, Henry, right? Like, you're literally in a demanding leadership position, but also holistically for themselves, right? Like getting used to things like being in event environments or like, frankly, like Lucia, you know this as a competitor, like loud environments in person is a hard thing to adjust to, right?
Yeah.
And that's a life skill that goes a long way in many other places. So that's how we sort of interpret what esports means to us and how we connect even to other programs on campus. So we'll have cross-collaborative events, do things like that, reach out. We spent a lot of time last year reaching out to the Albany community, the capital region, the high school community, just to really activate what this looks like.
In being a coach and the director and being able to teach students and cultivate students to have a better skill set or a mindset, what work goes into that? For when you're playing games at home, it becomes, okay, well, yes, I'm having fun, but then the fun also becomes a job for yourself. How do you treat that relationship, and how are you able to translate that into the teaching field?
A lot of it comes down to, especially in the competitive sense, like teaching healthy practice skills is a big thing. So a lot of people who play esports and games competitively are used to the grind, right? So they're already used to the notion of playing for the sake of playing, playing like they associate grind with improvement, right? The more hours I get in, the better I'll get. And healthy practice mindset, and this is true of athletics or any other field, is that it's not really about the quantity of time, it's about the quality of time, right? Like if you're practicing, then you're actually like practicing towards a particular skill set, right? What do I need to improve upon today? What do I need to work on today? Because regular gameplay and dedicated practice are two different things. And learning that, I think, goes a long way, not just in gaming, but in a lot of other spaces as well. When you're working on things, you learn to separate work from enjoyment, right? And you can enjoy your work, but it's a different kind of enjoyment, right? And that helps us keep a healthy association with games. It helps to make sure that we're not just grinding the hours away every day the minute people are out of class or in class, right? Like they have lives besides this that we hope that they would embrace, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a holistic approach to the competitive life versus the rest of their time at school and how they can complement one another.
Yeah. And Henry and Lucia, can you kind of give me some other background onto maybe your majors and your aspirations and incorporating this, or maybe this is kind of just a competitive hobby for you and that's where you want to leave it? Just give me your hopes and dreams out of this.
Well, I am a computer science major, and I've met a lot of other computer science majors in the arena, and I do want to do something that involves maybe game making when it comes to computer science. I don't know I don't know exactly how I will incorporate Smash Bros specifically into that, but I think maybe trying to see the inner workings of Smash Bros and the frame data and everything like that, maybe taking all of that into consideration, trying to make sure I make something that both works integrally and is also fun to play for other people.
Because I know from watching videos and similar veins of media, there's the weird hitboxes, and if you talked about you play Marth. Marth is a sword character.
Yeah.
Marth is swinging with something that if that gets hit, it doesn't hurt him, compared to somebody like I mentioned, I've played Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is using her body, and that little, I call it the nub, the side B attack, and it's tough luck if Marth hits you with that sword and you're hitting with the nub and you're not hitting Marth, and it's just things like that are the deeper, and like you said, there's the frames, and when the attack hits, when you throw it out, and there's that math to it that I know when I was playing and mashing buttons on the Wii, it was not going through my head. But if you want to give us the same vein for you.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the odd one out in the program sometimes. I am in grad school for public health with the College of Integrated Health Sciences, shout out. But yeah, I'm kind of the odd one out in that area. I think when I tell people that, they're kind of surprised that I'm in this space. It's definitely more of the side hobby for me, but it's one I enjoy a lot. Obviously, video games, now esports, of course, on top of that. But as for me, I just want to. My concentration is epidemiology, so studying diseases, how they spread, preventing it. So kind of my field I want to go into is in that sense, making sure people are happy, healthy in communities and like that. And I think that's kind of incorporated into everything I do is making sure people are happy and healthy. So esports, I love seeing our teams be able to come in, practice, have fun. Most of the time, it seems like they're having a very good time, unless they're losing. But there's even then, they're still having a fun time together. So that's kind of what's important to me.
Have you, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you said you were an iPad kid. I had an Android tablet as a kid. Do you remember that game? I don't know if it was called Plague or there was the virus and it went all over the
Plague
place.
Inc.
It was Plague Inc. Okay.
Yep.
So were you big into that one?
I knew about it. I don't know I think I had it. I actually just recently got it over summer again while it was on super sale. I was like, as a public health major, I feel like I have to have this game.
You can turn it into a homework assignment.
Side,
You can turn it into a homework assignment somehow.
I got the side game Cure incorporated, which is like DLC. So I was like, this is the good part of it. It's making a cure. This is what I do.
So, John, why don't you just give us some hopes and what you've seen from the players so far in this season and how you're going to mold them and train them and what it's going to look like for this year?
So a lot of our hopes this year are so we said last year we spent a lot of time in the capital region. We spent a lot of time getting out there, right, and seeing what everyone's up to in regards to gaming. This year, we're very UAlbany student focused. We're trying to optimize how the arena runs. We're trying to take student feedback. We just doubled our game library in the arena a week or two ago on our PCs just by taking student feedback about what kind of games they'd like. And those aren't just competitive titles. They're also single-player titles like Stardew Valley or, things like that, Balatro, things our students want to play on their off time. The arena is sort of becoming that type of facility where competition is balanced with general student need for a space like this. My hope is that we can continue to support those student bodies and potentially grow on campus. Especially our competitive teams are getting to a point where they're pretty large and dedicated and consistent, and we'd like to have them in person as often as possible to meet those sort of learning goals and things that we'd like to have them get experience in. So being able to support that as best we can is a big hope of ours. Running some popular on-campus events is also a big hope of ours this year. We're very excited for things like Halloween, the holiday season, and other opportunities to partner with on-campus partners and programs to put on a good show and have a good time. Definitely a big hope for us this year. Do you guys have any particular hopes this year? I mean, naturally, I also hope the competitive teams do well, but naturally, we're in a lot of new stuff this year, so I'm just satisfied with them giving it their all.
I just really want to go to more in-person competitive stuff because I remember last year we didn't really go to many big tournaments or anything, but this year I've been starting to go to more local tournaments. Every Monday there's this local tournament that's 5-10 minutes away from campus that me and a couple other of the team members go to, and it's really fun, and it really helps me hone my skills and really figure out what exactly it is that I might be doing wrong or my mentality while I'm playing, stuff like that.
I know VDO at the eSports Arena in Manans, they have a pretty big scene with even Melee, Super Smash Bros. Melee and Ultimate, and having people come down there. So, yeah. Real quick, before we head out, anything that you want to plug where anyone could find your program or the club or anything else, social media? It's open mic for you.
Yeah, well, we're on Instagram, UAlbany eSports _
UAlbany _ eSports.
UAlbany _ eSports.
It's tricky.
Yeah, and you can find us there for a lot of information. We post very consistently. We have another graduate assistant. Her name's Sanvi Shah, who is really great at it, and she's got a whole content calendar planned, so that'll be fun. Besides that, we have our own website, ualbany.edu/esports. That's going to get a major upgrade soon with all of our new information about the arena and about what we're up to this year. Do you guys have anything you'd like to plug for the year or for the school? Or shout out Sam Axley if you ever listen to this, just to make you laugh.
I mean, the arena is located between Fine Arts and Arts and Sciences, the basement below it. If you're in the LCs, go past Demore, up the stairs, through the doors, you'll find us there. 3 to 10, all students are welcome. We still have people discovering us for the first time this year, and
Yep.
I just want people to know where we are and that you can come in.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me, and I hope that maybe in a month or so we can catch back up and do a little bit more analytical, looking at how things have changed and the competitions, and I want to hear more about that Marth game.
I'll work on it. All right.
And with that, we are wrapped up with UAlbany. And don't forget, we have, of course, this episode here with me, but we also have Jacob Gonzalez and Christian Hicks. They'll be talking to a couple other esports and similar clubs. So thanks for watching and stay tuned.